bionic powers.
Wow.
Yo,
That brings back some memories.
man.
So 20 years ago, 8701. 20 years ago. That is
I
so
know.
crazy to me.
It seems like yesterday.
2001. I know. It really
Yeah.
does. It really does. So listen, everybody, welcome to Just Listen with Jam and Lewis. I'm Jimmy Jam. Terry may be joining or maybe not, but I'm here, and I have my partners in crime with me who have been involved with us for, oh man, I don't know, 30 years probably at this
Yeah,
point, maybe
yeah,
something like
Don't
that.
don't
Yeah.
tell on our age, Jam. Don't tell.
Yeah, exactly. No, we were in the womb together probably.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Young spring chickens.
Yeah, exactly. But everybody, welcome. Please welcome the Avila brothers, Bobby and Izzy. These two
Thank you very
guys
much.
are, when you talk about talent, this is talent with not only a capital T, but all the letters just in big, bold letters. Um, we signed, just a little bit of backstory here. We signed Bobby, how when we signed you, you were 16, is that right? Or something
I was
along like
14.
that?
Yeah, what 14 going
14.
on 15?
Oh my
Mhm.
God.
I know, right?
And so when we started Perspective Records back in the 90s, our first groups when it came out were Sounds of Blackness and Mint Condition. And then we started signing other groups after the success of those groups. And we came across Bobby. I don't even remember how did we discover you, Bobby? I know you were touring with New Kids on the Block or something, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
yeah. I was on RCA Records at the time,
Yep.
and I just got off the tour, and record business craziness. At that time it was like the independent way to go for artists, and so we were getting ready to put an independent record out, and we were mastering the project with Brian Gardner at Bernie Grumman's.
Yes, right.
And
Big
Terry
band.
happened to be calling on. It was a Janet project, something with Janet, and he was like, "Who is that in the background?" And
Mhm.
Brian said, "Oh, this kid, he's whatever." And he was like, Terry said, "Well, does he have a deal?" And so Brian does this. Hey guys, do you have a deal? It's like, of course we don't have a deal. You have to write all the label copy on the master.
Right.
They're like, no, why? And they were like, well, he goes, well, Terry Lewis is on the phone and loves what he's hearing. And we were like, the Terry Lewis?
Right.
And he said, yeah, man, send it to him. And you know what? 4 weeks later, man, I was in Minneapolis.
That's
Crazy.
amazing, man.
Yeah.
That's what an amazing story. And so after we signed, it wasn't enough to just sign Bobby though. Because Bobby said, "Hey, my little brother raps, man. He's got some cool stuff." And so we signed Izzy to a deal. Izzy, how old were you when we signed you?
Man, I was just turning 13.
Wow.
Yeah. And
That's
I remember getting the news, and I remember talking to Terry, and Terry said that you had called him. And I get, the thing of drive off the road music.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and Terry said, man, Jam said he popped that cassette in, and it was, man, drive off the road music. And man, that was my introduction into, the perspective days of being an artist. And man, just crazy, just to be that young and, to be in the school of lifetime, it was a blessing.
Yeah, man. Well, we've been obviously blessed to have you guys from the very beginning, but I just wanted to let our audience here know how far we go back when we,
Yeah.
whatever terms you want to use, OG or whatever, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
We've been together for a really long time and been able to make a lot of really great music together, including Usher. And the interesting thing is, obviously, today, as we speak to you, not only were you involved with our Jam and Lewis album, not only with the Usher record, but with the Heather Headley record, with the Mary J. Blige record, with the Charlie Wilson record, with the Sounds of Blackness record. But you guys were also involved now with Usher's show in Vegas that he's doing, his residency. I mean, you guys are basically the band. You guys and the drummer are the band and help put everything together for that. So when you talk about, we always talk about the idea of having careers. you know,
Right.
in music. And there's bumps in the road. There's all kinds of different things that happen along the way. But you guys are a great example for people that want to know how to have a career in music and
Yeah.
navigate your way through it. It starts with the basis of real talent. And when I say real talent, it's like know your craft. Nobody knows his way around not only a drum set, but also an MPC like
Yeah.
Izzy. Nobody. Okay. Or Serato turntables, or, you know, he's the master at that. And nobody knows his way around a piano and a guitar and a bass like Bobby. So you guys are an unbeatable combination to me as far as music. And that to me spells out longevity, because you're always going to be valuable to people, whether it's Usher or whoever you're involved with. And I think that's really important. Can you guys speak just a little bit to the fans on here? I don't know, just a little bit about the philosophy of that, because it is a philosophy. And the other thing I'll mention that you guys are involved with is the 1500 Sound Academy.
Yeah.
So not only are you involved in making music of your own, but you're also involved in mentoring the next generation of music makers. Talk a little bit about how important that is.
Well, I think, and I'll say my piece, Bob, and you can say yours. I think for us, I think the stability of our musicianship and our craft, and ultimately that's for us is where it has always started. And I think, you know, because that is very much a part of our creative DNA, you know, it's like the keys to all the doors. When songwriting is on, and then when songwriting may be off, you know, can you still make music? When the laptop dies, can you still make music? And I think understanding that at an early age, you know, those have been the secret tools for us. And I think, you know, being in an institution like Flight Time, where, you know, everything was based on just the ability to create live musicianship and, you know, having those key elements a part of creativity, I think always stuck in the back of our heads as far as, you know, a way to obtain longevity. And, you know, even for me, as long as I've been with Usher for, you know, 14 years and an additional, you know, 6 years, which all stemmed from the studio and in the room with you guys. And I think, you know, there's also a comfort level that Usher has, knowing that we came from that cloth, you know, of Jimmy and Terry, which even for artists like Usher is always going to rely on the actual gift and the craft. And so we've been able to, you know, take that, and truly that's kind of what has kept the pulse in the Avila brothers, is just our love for the craft and the dedication. Because it's opened up so many doors for us. When certain things weren't on, we were able to pivot and navigate. We were able to, you know, get involved in education at a very high level, understand the importance of arts and what that means in schools. And, you know, that ultimately led to us having, you know, opportunity to build something incredible with James Fauntleroy and Rance Dobson with the 1500 Sound Academy. And so just the origin of what our instruments have been for us and for many things, you know, I think it's why it'll always play a role in our lives. So, you know, at the end of the day, me and Bob can sit in a room. I can get on the drums, he can get on the piano, we can just jam, or we can write a song, or, you know, we can inspire others. And I think that's key. I think especially for the kids that look like us, because we grew up in a household full of soul music, and that's part of our DNA. We know we grew up with the SOS bands of the world and the Prince and all that stuff. And so that is very much who we are. And so, you know, I look at it as a way for us to continue to carry the torch, so others can understand the importance of, you know, what that tool means, what that guitar, what that drum set, what that piano means, and you know, ultimately the road that it can pave for you.
Yeah, it's the tools, man. It's the tools. Yeah, definitely. Bobby, what do you say, man?
Man, you know, I think for me, it's just the love that I have for music and the reverence that I have for music. I think that's allowed me to discover so much that, you know, the music business and the music industry encompasses. So, you know, I love what you say. It's like, it's the music business. It's not the business of music.
Right.
And I think my passion for music allowed me to just have this like humongous appetite to want to learn and to want to discover who did what and why and how did that sound work, and then, well, how did it get there, who controlled the marketing, and what was branding, and all of those different things were very intriguing to me because of the love that I have for music. And the biggest part, I think, with your gift, right, it makes room for you. So the room that it made for me was being a part of such a great institution like Flight Time, and learning from a publicist like Norman Winters and a guy like Norman Whitfield, and learning all of the different aspects of the music business that allows you to continue to keep growing and to have a job. And, a lot of times with music, it's like you have to do what you have to do in order for you to do what you want to do. And I think if you really truly have a passion for something, it's not about, the money aspect or what you can gain financially, because if you do the right thing creatively, if you put, I think, your passion first and you put your heart out there and you put the work in, then everything else follows. And I think for us, when we finally got into our groove, and Confessions really was not just an album of confessing for Usher, but for us, it was a period for us where we were, trying to figure out where life was going for us in music and being challenged, and then us like reuniting and figuring out our chemistry together as a team. And, lo and behold, I think, and I don't say this to be a downer, but my less inspiring records that I've ever done happen to be a part of Confessions. And, music teaches you, no matter, what, we always have this gauge and this meter of like what success is. And, it's like, if in my eyes, it has to be this. And it turned out to be, for me, Confessions was a body of work that I was, proud of, but it wasn't like, oh, this is going to be my big smash record. And lo and behold, God had a different plan. And it became this like landmark album now that is here, like being at Caesar's Palace, night after night performing the records. It's like, after 20 some years, it's like, wow, like it still has the same impact. And all I could think about is us being in that small room at the Village, creating this magic. So, I just think the love for music for me was like the biggest aspect. And when things did happen, it allowed me and gave me the room to now discover, hey, why don't we go in the tech world? Why don't we learn the retail? Why don't we learn where music's being engaged and received, and figure out how we can fuse the creative part into a different department that could actually help grow and expand music? Because again, it goes back to the love of music. Music is just, it is me. I used to love what Prince said. It's like, I don't play music. I am music. And I really feel that, and being around so many greats like you guys, and, when you talk about Talkbox, being around Roger and Lester and Larry Troutman as a young kid and understanding, right? It's like,
we were talking about them the other day. Yep.
Like you can't. There's a reason why Charlie was like, "You got Terry. We got to get Bobby." It's like I remember Charlie called me at 16 years old, late at night, like, "Hey, can you do this Talkbox?" Because Roger said, "I can't do it, but call Bobby." And just that information to me, I think, allows us to have this career that has lasted so long. And my appetite is still thirsty. I always want to learn. And it's what Terry always says, education without application is useless. So I pride myself in taking the education and applying it and doing something with it.
Yeah. And I think,
go ahead.
I was going to say, Jam, I think, a huge part of, where we've been able to go and where music has positioned us really came from being prepared. And, talent, you can have all the talent in the world, man, but preparation, is everything. And, one of the things that I always take with me that we were able to learn from you early on in was just, when I call on you and you have your moment, just be ready, be ready to go. And I think having that mentality is what has truly carried us through too. Because, talent is, thankfully for the man upstairs, I mean, that's just a natural gift that he has bestowed upon us. But the reality too is that we've had to be prepared, and I mean, being, 12, 13 years old at flight time, and understanding at a high level how records are made, how the process works, playing records from top to bottom so that the start of a song doesn't feel the same as the ending of a song, and understanding dynamics. I mean, those are all key things that we were able to obtain and acquire information from you guys, man. And so that's something that, when I'm in these rooms with these kids in classrooms and we're talking music, I mean, that's one of the biggest that, in the midst of working and honing in your craft, you got to still be prepared for that moment.
Yeah. And you know what, dude, the other thing I think about, like, my rig. So my rig at the residency is insane, because I'm playing like Rhodes and Moog at one song, and then I literally go to the talk box, and then I'm grabbing the bass, the guitar, coming back, playing keys, grabbing the acoustic guitar, and it's effortless for me to do that. And if Usher wants to call audible, put another song, we cut it in real time, put it together, and it doesn't take us, a day. It's like we're in here in rehearsals for an hour, knock it out in 15 minutes. And I think a lot of the preparation and the studying, the rehearsing, the practicing, it comes in effect when you actually have to apply that in the workplace. And I think a lot of just, being in that environment, being tested, being pushed, it's like, wow, you become, what you're doing. And it's easy, it's effortless. And so I think about those things, especially in the middle of the show, because, it's pretty, like, it's a crazy show, right?
It is. It's amazing.
It's Usher, and, when you send those notes like on OMG, it's like, okay, yeah, you're right. We should probably try to revisit that. But I'm able to make those adjustments in real time quick, because I have the information.
We got the Jammer Lewis cheat codes.
It's funny, because I always talk about, and you guys know, because I've been to your over many years, but the whole idea of preparation, it almost sounds cliche, but when people ask, what's your advice? And I always say, be prepared. And it sounds very cliche when I say that, but I also say, people always say, they always say, well, I'm waiting for my break, or I'm waiting for somebody to put, something to make something happen. And I'm always like, take the word waiting out. Substitute the word preparing. I'm preparing for my break, because when that break happens, if I show up somewhere with a microphone in my hand and go, who sings? And everybody raise their hand, and I'm handing somebody a microphone, and they might go, oh, well, I'm not ready right now, but you're done. It's over. You've blown it. You've blown it at that point. So yeah, you have to be prepared. And, I just think that that's important, just as a philosophy of life. I mean, I just think that, but for us, music is life. So it's obviously our musical philosophy, knowing what you're doing, doing the homework also, because as you're talking about your rig that you have and the ability of, well, I'm going to play acoustic on one song, guitar on another song, keyboard on another song. I'm not going to have Rhodes patches. I'm going to have a real Rhodes up there. I'm going to have, those types of things. I mean, I just think, and when people see the show, by the way, because I know the fans on here are all going to see Usher, and maybe they've already seen the show and will go back and see it again. But there's an authenticity to the show that comes from not only the way you guys play and put the show together, but also the fact that it's nothing but hits. I like shows, right, where I don't want to hear a bunch of filler songs and a bunch of, I mean, sometimes that's fine, but I just want to be entertained. And it's really non-stop hits, which is amazing. And what's even more amazing is that a lot of the songs that are in there, you guys had a hand in working on. So it's got to be a great feeling. And I know I feel that same way. There's nothing like hearing your song in front of an audience. It's great to hear songs when your song gets played on the radio. That's pretty amazing. But to see the way an audience reacts to something you've done, and Bobby, as you said, even if it's something that you don't think was the greatest thing you ever did, you now appreciate it because of the way other people feel about it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's the thing too. I remember, and I remember when Bob was asked to come on board for the show. And I told him, I said, the fulfillment that I've had throughout the years with Usher, sharing the stage with him, is seeing how our music has crossed the water and has impacted people. And that's continuously has been the payoff for me in a live setting, is, people that I've never met in my life, to see them sing along, is a great indication of how music impacts people and what it means to them, and to have a hand in that experience, I mean, is beyond fulfillment. And I mean, for me, the great thing with this show is that I get to share the stage finally with my brother and put on in an amazing show with Usher, and that to me is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's all about full circle, and that's one where it's all come full circle. You guys are back together on stage, which is amazing. Listening to songs that you helped create. You basically are pilots on a time travel machine, because
that's it.
You guys are taking people through their memories, through the best parts of their lives and the things that they remember. And there's, to have an evening of music like that, and particularly coming as we're trying to get back to being safe, being together safely. And there's a lot of, I'm sure there's a lot of anxiety. I know I felt weird. It was the first kind of big crowd that I've been in when I came to opening night. But that all leaves for that hour and a half that you guys are on stage. That all goes away. It's really about the joy of music and that. So, it's a pretty amazing thing. So we kind of walked through. I mean, we are also going to celebrate. We talked about 8701 a little bit in the celebration that was. Confessions obviously is the thriller, if you will, of Usher's career. I guess you could say.
That's true.
I mean, it was just,
that's a great statement.
Yeah, I mean, it just really, when you talk about music that really transcends stuff. But I wanted to play a couple of little snippets of a couple songs. We have a secret DJ Emma, is lurking in the shadows.
Emma on the one.
Emma's on the one.
No. Jam, are you there? We lost Jam, huh? Because we're still going. That's cool.
Oops. That's what I get for trying to push buttons. I need to I'm just trying to push buttons, and all of a sudden I think I disappeared. Anyway, so Emma, if you got a little something, I just wanted to play from Confessions. If we could play a little bit of I just want to hear a little bit of a song called Bad Girl. Can we play a little bit of that if you have that handy? A little bit of Bad Girl. And Bad Girl, by the way, we'll talk a little bit about the story of that, because that was a pretty crazy song. Let's hear a little bit of this.
Hey.
What it do?
What it do?
Pimpin'. Oh boy. What y'all know about a supermodel? Fresh out of Air magazine. Buy her own bottles. Look, pimp juice, I keep it wrong. Bad than a mother. Oh, now you're a bad girl. Baby, if you're a bad girl. Players, when you see me, act like you know me. I keep $1 worth of dimes. No pimpin' ain't easy. For all my chicks in the club, who knows how to cut a rug? If you're a bad girl, get me bad girl.
Woo.
Oh, man. And we take that song up about 8 or 10 gears in the live show.
In the concert? Yeah, I know you do.
Yeah.
I know you do.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about a little bit about the journey of that song, because that song was kind of a well, not a mess, but it was a mess. Parts. Yeah, okay, it was a lot of moving parts to get that song together. But talk about just maybe your memories of it, and how it feels to hear it now. And obviously, it's like the club anthem now.
Yeah,
I know. That record is so crazy. Like, I remember, I was so jealous. You and Iz were downstairs working on Janet, and Terry's like, okay, we have this record. Usher's like loving this record. Mark Pitts is loving this idea, and it was just like, it had so many just wrong parts, and it had no sympathy. So a lot of the it had no hook. Terry's like, okay, I can't remember the song.
Yes.
And so Terry like did one of the, what do you think? I was like, what do you think? Let's take a stab at it. So, man, they had no sympathy, no nothing. So a lot of what you hear is done by hand. Like the kick, Izzy's playing live hi-hat.
Yep.
Get overdubs on guitars. It had no bridge. And it's like, like Terry always says, a song should never end the way it starts. So we were trying to get to this take the listener on a journey and a ride, and it still be infectious, have melody, because it just was very linear, like it didn't go anywhere. And it was the song that just would not leave. And then somebody says, well, it needs a ride in it at the end. And it's like, no, we need to ride this song out and get to the next song. But, it's like, ultimately hearing like how people like gravitated towards that record. Anthem. Yeah, like I get all of these messages, PJ Butter will send me some stuff, or Fuzzy will send me some stuff. Like, it's like that record is just like, it just has that pulse.
Yeah, the ladies own it too, boy. They own that record.
Yeah. And it's weird because the guitar riff has a little bit of Doobie Brothers.
Yeah,
it's got like, it's got all these like weird nuances that ultimately, sonically made it what it was, and it was very different at that time. This was 2003, different. And very different.
Yeah.
But we always said, I love what Quincy said, like with a great record, a great body of work, you always have the nerves, right? So you have like the classic soul, whatever that is, you have the R&B, you have the jazz nerve, and then you have the rock nerve. And I think Bad Girl was like, for us, was almost like the Beat It, or like the Black Cat was for Janet. It gave him that grunge, that aggressiveness, but that didn't take away from what you were used to listening to when it came to Usher. Still had the essence of him still in the middle of all of it. It was just sonically a little different.
Yeah.
By the way, I was going to say, that's one of the cool things about, and I know you guys know, obviously as writers and producers, a lot of times you spend time creating to cover people's mistakes or to cover their weak spots. Usher's one of those people that when you're writing with him, he doesn't really have weak spots. It's like, which is right. As a creative person, that's the best thing. It's not like he's going to say, oh, I can't sing a slow song, or I can't sing a fast song, or I can't sing rhythmically, or it's not, he's never about what he can't do. Like, and if anything, he's so prolific. I always say it. I mean, in my mind, the toughest thing about Usher is getting him to focus long enough to actually finish a song, because he's always right. Puts out the idea, and then he's on to the next. He's like, no, let's finish.
He's filled with melodies, and I think too. I mean, one of the beautiful experiences that I remember, even as we work it today, is his ability to, listen to music, and then how he gets into performance mode before the record's even finished, and he starts performing, he starts dancing it, because he's thinking, how is this going to feel live? How can I move? And to be able to create with that kind of palette, I think just ultimately inspires a better record.
I totally agree. I asked somebody that whether they thought about that aspect of it as they were doing the records, the live performance of the records. And you guys were around when we were doing New Edition, If It Isn't Love. And I said, the thing about that song was Brooke was in town, their choreographer, and like literally the little breaks in that song, those came from, because we're thinking live. Like, what is the part in the songs that live is really going to work? And I remember having a conversation, one of many conversations I've had, interesting conversations, but I had an interesting conversation with Kanye one time, and Kanye was talking about how he almost did his songs like in order. Like he said, this is my club song, and then this is my arena song, and this is my stadium song when I get to the stadium. Like, he kind of in his mind already knew the progression. So to have Usher be, you know, literally the ultimate entertainer, to have those kinds of thoughts in his mind as he's creating the song, like not only going to make something for the clubs, but I'm going to make sure that the radio gets it, and I'm going to make sure that the concert people get it. And a lot of people don't have that as they're creating. They don't have that kind of depth.
No, absolutely. And a perfect example of that, Jam, was when we were doing Raymond versus Raymond. You know, Usher wanted a stadium entrance song, and that ultimately became Montstar, and that's how it was put together. And, you know, when you go back to the OMG tour of his, he came in the arena to Montstar. Yes. And so it was really built for, you know, how he wanted that entrance of the show to feel, you know, very much like any Heartbreak, you know. So, you know, and it's great to have the luxury to be able to do that with the artist like Usher, who, you know, is thinking along those lines and can actually pull it off.
Yeah. Even scarier, last night, he was able to, we had a plan where we were going to, you know, do a little change in the show. Well, that change got changed during the show with another change.
Okay.
And to be able to like move with him when he's calling an audible in real time on a stage, a show that's, you know, currently moving and active and going making a transition, he's got the gear. So I know if I go with him, we're in sync. He's in pocket. You know he's gonna. Then you know you could reel him in when you know the right time. But he can go. He has that gear. You know, and that's not. I always say he's unstoppable for a guy to be able to perform, dance, sing, and then have he's like a quadruple threat.
Yeah.
It's also interesting too. I just want everybody to understand how special it is to have as the band the people that help create the music, as opposed to just hire, because a lot of times it's separate things. You have your studio guys, your studio musicians that do the studio stuff, and then you have a live band that you take out with you. In Usher's case, you guys, when you're doing some of those songs, you created those songs. You know, when you do Bad Girl in the show and you say we turn it up in the show, it's because you were the originators of the song. So
and I do think, you know, that is another, you know, that's luxury. I mean, even for me, you know, for the years that I've been musical director, my approach has never been as a musical director. My approach has always been how we create records in the studio. Mm-hmm. And I think with how we shaped this show with Lil Jon, Bob, and myself, we really treated it like a record. How did we want to impact the audience? How do we separate this show from all the other tours we've been? Okay, let's treat it as if we're remixing this experience. And we're going to make it polished, but feel very much live. And, you know, that's always been our approach. And I think, you know, because we have those tools in our arsenal, you know, we treat the show like how we would mix a record. You know, we mix to the arena, to the room. And so those things, I think, we're able to pull into that experience because we're songwriters and producers, you know, and we have the luxury to treat a show as if we're creating a record. And so we know those nuances of Usher and his vocal ability. You know, what energy does he favor the most from a musical aspect, and then tie all that together. I mean, it's you know, I think that's our secret weapon.
Yeah, I mean, being in the studio, it's crazy because the tech, you're gonna love this, Jeff. So the tech's going through all of my bass backups, my main bass, my guitar backups.
Yep.
And he's like, there's a problem. And it's like, well, what? It's like, there's no guitar straps. And it's like, yeah, because I'm always playing in the studio.
He's always sitting down.
I'm sitting down. I don't have guitar straps. And, you know, it takes me to a place where it's like, that's been my world forever. And I think being in the live setting with him, number one, you know how disappointed we get when an artist plays a song the wrong way.
Yeah.
And it could be fast, but if it's wrong fast, it's yuck. If it's too slow, you know, so our approach is really like, okay, we know we're gonna add some colors. We know we're gonna bring this to life, like from a live perspective, but we can never lose the integrity of the record, because then we're gonna disappoint ourselves if we're in that seat watching, having an expectation of you know what we grew up listening to or what we love from Usher. Right. So we're sensitive to that approach, so that we do keep the integrity of what the body of work really deserves in terms of, you know, the respect. So, you know, it's just a trip to be in that kind of setting to understand all of those nuances, because it is different. You know, live is definitely different, because you don't get a chance to go do a redo. It's once it's out, you know. So I'm always mindful of myself playing, because it's like, well, if you make a mistake, you know, you'd be the first person to say, "Oh, I heard that."
Yeah, that's true. That is true. You're not gonna get stuff past me. Hey, DJ Emma, I'm not gonna. By the way, I'm not gonna touch anything. I'm gonna leave my hands right here. But DJ Emma, would you play us a little something? I want to go a little bit deep on Usher. There's a song called "Seduction" that, interestingly enough, didn't make the actual album, but then on the deluxe version of the album, I don't know, due to public demand or some reason, it finally made it out. And I just want to play a little bit of this and then talk about this, because I think this is one of you guys' masterpieces.
Sexy women, sensuous, voluptuous. It don't matter, baby. You got it, you got it. Seduce me, baby, seduce me. Just to get my attention, send a note and a drink. When we made our connection, she nodded and winked. On this note it said, it's about time we get together. Let's dance now, hook up later, we can do whatever. She had confidence, it's all part of the game. Cause to her, who I'm with don't really mean a thing. She knew what I liked, and now I'm thirsty for more, baby. Sensuous, sexy, erotic, how you working your body. Oh, you gon' make me do it, do it. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a record there, gentlemen.
Yeah,
that is the record there. Talk
shout
a little bit about. Go ahead.
I was gonna say shout out to the late great Big Jim Wright.
Yes.
Who also worked on that with us.
Yes. Yeah, man. Big Jim. Unbelievable.
I'm going to tell this story.
Okay, tell this story, Bobby.
Okay, so this was originally done for Janet.
That's right. That's right.
It was for Janet.
Right. Yep.
Because you kept talking about, we need like this real kind of, I don't know what it's like, mystery, but kind of very sensual. We'll get to it.
Yes.
So we were in Studio F downstairs, and we did it. And you know how we would label tracks. If there was like if a song made us feel good, we were like, okay, label it feel good. Or if it was a song that makes you smile.
Yep.
So I'll never forget it. It was like when we got done with it, we were doing a bounce, and I was like, let's call it Seduction. I'll just call it Seduction. So Matt, just send it to me. I'll get it to everybody. So, you know, we're in the studio with Ush, and we're having like our powwow, listening to music. Like, what are we missing? And Terry says, we're missing a sex record, like, but a real sex record. Ush was like, no, we have it. He said, no, we don't. We got sex records, but we don't have just that Marvin Gaye moment. We don't have that sensuous moment. And I was like, well, we have this joint. It's called Seduction. Like, check it out. And Usher had the handheld mic, and they started going. It was Seduction.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'll never forget the magic at that time in the room where, you know, we didn't want to, you know, we captured Usher's vocal on a handheld, and just the vibe of what that ultimately became was like, no, we don't want to recut that. We don't want you to go in there and sing on that polished mic, because the vibe of what it feels like now. And that it just had that feeling to it.
Is that the song that I heard? And because didn't Terry like hijack that song?
Yeah.
So that one was That's What It's Made For.
Oh, that's what it's made for.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So the funny thing was, I remember, you know, I was kind of in my ignition bag, and I was like, okay, just kind of, you know, going through crates, and just, you know, started working on that joint. And I remember coming upstairs to the White Room. You got on bass. I think Bob got on the Williter, And man, we were just jamming.
Yep.
And Terry came in, and he was like, you know, kind of vibing, and I think Jan was like, oh no, this going to Janet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's right.
And then Usher walked in the room and was like, yo, what is this? And then it was like, I remember you were playing, and then you were like, oh hell no. And then it was like, it was gone.
Yeah, you know Terry, when he's quiet, something's wrong. He's up to something.
But that one was truly hijacked.
Yes, that was definitely hijacked. I just remembered one of those got hijacked. I just remembered that. I was like, going, come on, man. I don't know.
I remember it like clear as day, man. We were in that room. Bob hopped in the wheelchair. You hopped on the key bass, and it started on that MPC, man, and we were going. And then there came Terry and Nush, and it was like, oh man, they started riding. And you looked around, and you're like, oh hell no. That was it.
Hey, so Emma, I'm just going to mention a couple songs. If you can find them, we might play a little couple snippets of it. And I know we're celebrating Usher. Oh, which reminds me. So the anniversary of 8701 is Saturday. Is that correct? Or Friday night or Saturday night? I know it's one of the nights you guys are playing, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
Yeah. So are you guys going to do anything special for that evening that you guys know about?
I mean, we might. It's possible.
You just don't want to give the shits away.
Right.
Keep it a surprise. I understand. Get your ticket and find out.
Yes. Okay. I got you. Yeah. Okay. So since we're talking about songs that were stolen from Janet that you guys are involved with, let's get a couple songs that weren't stolen from Janet. And one of them is one of my favorite Janet songs that's kind of, it's kind of under the radar, I think, for a lot of people, but people that hear it, it instantly turns into their favorite song. And that's a song called Enjoy.
Oh, man.
So
one of my faves.
It's one of my favorites. And one of the cool things I like about Enjoy, if we can find it and have it, is my kids are singing on the end of that, and they don't even remember that.
Wow.
But I played it for them the other day. No, I'll tell you what it was. So Janet had, she did the auction at the not Christie's, but whatever the other museum place was. It's slipping my mind now. And when you got the invitation, when you opened the invitation, Enjoy was the song that played. Did you guys know that?
No,
I didn't know that.
Okay, I'll make sure that I'll get you one of the invitations because you guys will love that.
Oh man, awesome!
But when I got the invitation, I was like, I opened the invitation up, and then I was like, oh man, that song! And I started playing it for. I think Bella was sitting in the next room, and I hit Bella, and I said, Bella, I said, you guys know you're singing on the end of this, and I played it for her, and she was like, oh my god, I don't even remember that. But Max says at the beginning of the song, he goes, "What's up?"
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, let's hear a little bit of Enjoy.
Joy.
I wake up safely again. About time to do it again. Sunshine today, I better make plans. Cause it rained yesterday, but that was okay. Can't complain. I love it away. Live every day like it's my last. I refuse to be stuck in the past. People act like machines, cause they're scared to live the dreams. Know that me, I just enjoy and celebrate. Enjoy the love we make. Enjoy, appreciate, enjoy. Just keep enjoying it to my heart's content. And enjoy once more, enjoy. So just enjoy the simple things. Enjoy the day of brings. Enjoy the song of sings. Enjoy. Just keep it doing until your heart's content. And enjoy the gift of life. Enjoy.
Wow,
Man.
man, that record just makes me smile, man, every time
Yep.
I hear it.
Yeah, me too, man. That's what a great song. The spirit of the song, the melody, the lyric, everything about that
Yeah.
is absolutely amazing. The other thing too, I just want to point out is when you're hearing these songs and you're hearing these, I mentioned earlier that is such a master of the MPC, and I used to be, I grew up in the Lindrum DMX era, a little bit of SP 1200 drum machine. And I was scared of the MPC, man. I didn't get it. I really didn't. But I used to marvel at the way is you would take samples and cut stuff up, but keep it really musical. And I always liked the idea that you guys' music was always it was so musical, because a lot of people were putting samples in songs, but they would be out of key, or they'd be, they wouldn't necessarily match, or, or that kind of thing. You guys' stuff always, it was musical. It was sampling, but it was in the right key, and you guys put the right things around it. Just talk a little bit about just the philosophy of doing that. And because I think I don't want it to be underappreciated when people look back at our catalogs that things that we've done together. I want people to really notice how amazing that is, what you guys do, what you guys bring to it.
Yeah. I think, and mainly one of the reasons why I still, keep the MPC 3000 as a choice of weapon is, I love creating with it, because when I create, I'm not looking at a screen, I'm not looking at a file, I'm not looking at a wave. I'm literally looking at what I hear in my head and my ears, whether it's wrong or whether it's right. And I think the beauty of what I've been able to master on that drum machine is just the art of taking something and making it perfectly imperfect.
Yeah.
And I'm that, and whether I'm adding air at the top of a sample so it fits right in the pocket, or I'm adding air at the end, and I'm playing with the delays, and I think too that's what has given me somewhat of a signature identity with being able to do what I do on the MP. And then having a guy like Bob who can come in, and then we can create a B section and a bridge. And I think I've been able to look at the MPC in essence assembly a band, right? So I'll start off with drum sounds, kick, snare, and hat. Then I'll say, okay, I need my bass player. So let me find a bass sound that I could chop. Okay, got that. Now I need a guitar. Let me find something that sounds cool. And that's always been my approach. But I've always looked to create on the MPC in a way that is a little more exciting than just somebody who can pick up a bass and play a song.
Yes.
You take a record like, the Avila Brothers record, I Want You. That bass was all done on 16 pads on the MPC.
Yes, I remember that.
It's the ability to take a sound and build a band, and it still sound fresh, and the low end is there, and the snare's cracking. And I think that's what I've been able to master on the MPC is I've been able to create a band with various samples that are from completely different songs you've never heard, songs that are still to this day hard to find. And I think that's truly been the science of my craftsmanship on the MPC, and then figuring out how to turn that into a song. For records like Demita Joe, right?
Yeah.
Where you have the horn, you have the drums, you have the scratches, and then I have your vocals that I'm scratching.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
To be able to do that, and to create songs at a high level for very high level artists just on an MPC I think is where my special sauce has always resided.
Yeah,
because there's definitely there's a science to it.
Yeah, there is, and it's definitely special sauce, and it's really funny because even a lot of times what you showed me was even the way to listen to music, almost where samples lie within music. because some things it's real obvious where there's a 4 bars or there's, you know, whatever, 2 bars, whatever it is. It's just such an obvious thing.
Yeah.
But you would dig in and find 2 bars of something so obscure that I'd be going, wait a minute. But you know now, because I've sent you stuff now, I'll hear a band, right? I'll hear a band or a song and I'll send it to you going, I know you can do something with this. This sounds like something this sounds like something you would mix up and do.
No, absolutely. So, and you know, most of my joints, you know, whether it's That's What It's Made For or Baggage, you know, all those things were crafted solely on an MPC, you know, 3000. And, you know, there's things that my ear hears as a sampler that I favor. You know, when you look at Mars versus Venus, right? That whole
which, by the way, the chat is asking about that song, by the way. There's people in the chat that are asking about Mars versus Venus. Yeah.
That's one of my favorite sonic records that I think we collectively have in our library. Yeah. Just the craftsmanship of musicality in that record and melody. You know, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful for me to be able to start something that demanding from a sonic experience, you know, on an MPC 3000. And I think that's the one thing that I do appreciate when people come to me and you know, they want to talk about just how that's even done and what's my formula. And I'm always happy to share that with people because, you know, I've too been able to pull from the creative canvases of those like Pete Rock and Jay Dilla and even yourself and even Bobby. Yeah. And, you know, it's a concoction of all those influences, you know, and I've found a way how to assemble my band on that drum machine. Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it. A band on the drum machine.
Right. So there's a couple fan questions we'll get to. That was one of them. There was that was from Jazz Kid on Instagram actually asked about the story Mars versus Venus. So we hit a little bit.
What up, Jazz Kid?
So let's see. We got let's see. Oh, Koizi on Instagram says, can't believe 8701 turns 20 in 2 days. As you both worked with him on subsequent albums, how do you think Usher has grown vocally and artistically over the years? How do you see like his growth? You know, I think the beautiful thing with him is that he is such a student of his craft and a student of music. I mean, him knowing various genres of music, and when I say various genres, I'm talking songs, like his repertoire of catalog of music that he reaches for to make himself better, I think has ultimately played a role in his evolving, you know, as him evolving as an artist. And I mean, every night for him to get up there and do what he does while he's dancing and still be able to sing in key, I mean, it's just a God-given ability that he's really taken care of. You know, he doesn't smoke. There's a lot of things he conditions himself to do to preserve that gift. And, you know, you look at him, he's 43 now. And, you know, he's just getting better with time. You know, it's pretty remarkable to see. A lot of it is want. You know, he wants to be excellent. And you see that in what he does. Like he really, to me, he overthinks a whole lot of stuff. Because, you know, in his quest to be, you know, excellent at what he does. Okay, here's one. This is from Toronto Loves Usher from Instagram. What was your favorite song you created with Usher? I'm gonna have to say probably Mars versus Venus for me. Okay. Good. How about you, Bob?
You know what? I'm gonna say Truth Hurts for this reason. There's a crazy story behind Truth Hurts. So 2 years before we even were in the room with Ush, we had this track. And I would say, man, this sounds like Ush, like for some reason. So the day he came into the studio, what was the track we played 2 years later? It was the Truth Hurts record. Yeah. And, you know, it just instantly felt like him. Mm-hmm. And when he started singing, we gave him the handheld, and all he did was Truth Hurts. Mm-hmm. We just were trying to figure out what he was doing, and then, you know, we're trying to track it out. You know, he loved the record. LA was like, oh my God, that's sounds amazing. I'm going to send them back. Well, the zip disk went bad. So we couldn't split it out. And you know how we always like to have the control of each instrument and, you know, be able to, you know, manipulate it however we wanted to. Well, we couldn't do that.
Yep.
So we were locked in to the stereo track at that time. That was pre-MP3 talk.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So we had the stereo track from the Elisa's Master Link, and we used that and then just built around it. And that's what ultimately became Truth Hurts on Confessions. So that record to me, it just had a flow too. It really set the tone because remember that was the first record we did, and that's the first record we started with him, and then that led to everything else after.
Truth Hurts became like Pandora's box for everything we were going to create together. You know, that opened the door to everything, and for us it was great because that was truly our first time of us being in the studio with him. You know, he was just meeting us.
Yep.
You know, he had worked with you guys on 8701, and I think, you know, I mean, we're here now because of that record.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, so DJ Emma, call up a little Truth Hurts for us, if you would be so kind. I want to hear a little bit of this because I agree with you, Bobby. I'm with you on that one. Truth Hurts, man. That was definitely a drive off the road song when I
right.
Definitely. Anticipation.
5, 4,
3, 2, 1.
Ain't technology great?
You gotta love it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's something to be said about the human element.
Yes, there definitely is. Okay, so we're not hearing it, Emma. I don't know whether you know we're not hearing it. Maybe you're hearing it on your end. We're not hearing it on our end. I do see that it's playing. We're just not hearing it.
Well, we can shout out Twana Thomas, Cy Greenhill.
Yes,
thank you all for tuning in. Andrew, what up, man? Shonda
Claxton, yep.
Jet Jones. Oh,
here we go.
Okay. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Whatever you working, I hope that it was worth it. I got reasons here that you've been moving around. Girl, I'm really trying to understand. I wanna move on and put it in the past. Cause you claim that you ain't doing nothing. Must be my insecurity. It got the best of me right now. What I know I can't hold inside of me. It's gonna drive me insane. As I know the truth hurts. Tell me that you what you been doing.
Yeah.
Oh man,
that got a thing on it, man. That joint's got a thing on it.
You know, the way that record moves is so cool because the drums aren't perfect. The way that you got the drums on there,
yeah.
And then what's also cool is his vocal. I know one of the things we talked about on Confessions was, everybody thought of Usher as an entertainer, which he absolutely is, but we thought it was important for people to go, man, he can sing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I think the songs on Confessions is like a singer. Like it's like you now we recognize his vocal ability, but the way in that song, the beat, everything totally drops out. And it's just him just singing. And I love those kind of moments in that song. And then when the beat drops in, the other thing I remember about that song was we had those JBL speakers. Remember those?
Man.
They were like PA speakers.
Yeah,
they were like the loudest. I think we still have those at Flight Time now, but they were like the loudest things ever. And I remember we would bring people in there. I know LA came in there to hear it, but a bunch of people would come in to hear it. And that was the song we'd always put on those speakers. And you just blow people away.
Yeah, Big John would be like, man, what the hell is that playing up there?
Yep, exactly. Yep. Yeah, it was bumping. And I should just to give some context to people, we've been together with the Avila brothers for so long our journey started at Flight Time in Minneapolis. Wait, were you guys at the old Flight Time, or were you at the new Flight Time when you guys came?
Adina.
Okay, so the Adina Flight Time, you guys were there, and that was 89, 90-ish, so around that time.
Yeah.
Okay, so we go back to that. When Terry and I then moved to LA, 2002-ish, like in that era, you guys were with us at the Village when we were at the Village. And you guys were with us. I remember, matter of fact, Bob, I think you guys were at Record Plant when Kanye was there the first time. Does that, am I those things up?
Yeah.
Because I remember running into you guys, and that was the day I ran into Kanye. He had just literally got out to LA, and he had just, I think, got the wire out of his jaw. Like he was telling all kinds of stories about different stuff. But it was crazy. So we've been through that period, the Record Plant era, together, and obviously through to the new Flight Time and all of that. Well, the Flight Time in Santa Monica, which is now so we were there, and now the new Flight Time, the warehouse, basically Flight Time warehouse. So we've kind of journeyed throughout all the different studios and kind of done everything from analog recording back in the day to digital recording. I was telling somebody, even on our album, it's like some things are analog tape, some things are laptop, and it kind of everything in between. Let's talk. Let me grab a couple more quick questions here, and then we'll move. Oh, so here we go. Do it yourself. Kiana22 on Instagram says, and we don't like to put times on things because it's when it's finished, not when it started. But this is an interesting question. She says, was Do It Yourself produced around the time of Mars versus Venus or Monstar?
No.
Do you guys remember? I don't.
Yeah, I do remember. Yeah. I had just got off the OMG tour, and I actually met up with Terry and Bob in Atlanta, and I had a setup at Doppler. And I literally had what I had with me on the road, which was a couple cases of crates, some records that I picked up on the road in the UK. And I came back, and, Usher had been sharing some ideas of just some stuff he wanted to kind of try out for his new album. And so I just kind of started cooking and, started working on that joint, Do It Yourself. Yeah. And then I met up with Bob and Terry, and we started with up tempos. We started with some mid tempos, and then we really just locked in on that one. And it became Do It Yourself. Yeah. So that was definitely a different time than what the work we were doing on Raymond versus Raymond.
The thing that was cool about Do It Yourself, and we'll play a little bit, and if we get enough people, I think I told people, if we get enough people, I think we're competing with Kanye. I think he's doing his live stream too. But I said if we get enough people, we'll play a little snippet of the lyric video we have. Do It Yourself, which is pretty cool. You guys got to sneak that today, right?
Yeah.
So it turned out really, really kind of cool. But let me ask this. You guys, this is Marbidix, I think is what it says on Instagram. It says, are the Avila brothers or Bobby Ross Avila going to put out another album?
Hey. Absolutely.
Yeah, that it's funny, man, because how the Mood Sound Sensational came together. I mean, that was in the midst jam of us doing New Edition, Gwen Stefani, Mary J, and we would literally like use the late night hours to work on that album. And we never thought that that record was more of a passion project. And we didn't think I Want You would do what it did, and it became like this classic skating jam. I remember I got a text from you were in Chicago, I think. You were at a wedding, I think, or something, and I Want You was playing, and we were just, I was at that time, it was just something that we were as music lovers were putting together. And what's funny about I Want You was actually a remix that I actually did for Janet's I Want You. Yes. Her I Want You was in 3-4 times, right?
Yes, and you did it right. I remember that. Yep, I totally remember.
that was the demo that Bob sang with Terry.
Uh-huh.
So we that was what we ultimately ended up using. We used that vocal demo that Bobby had did for Janet.
I mean, how serious could we be?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. I love the demo. I love the demo. Okay, wait. Okay, so DJ Emma, give us a little taste of "I Want You," the Avila Brothers, if you have that handy. Let's hear a little bit of that. That would be wonderful. And then we'll talk about a little bit what they have in store for us, potentially on their new record. And then we'll get into a little bit of Jam and Lewis Volume 1, because they definitely have some contributions on that.
You're so incredible. The bliss and sweet sensational. My body's burning with desire. I need you, and I want you to want me too. Mental and physically. Love how you're doing me. I said I want you. Baby,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
And that's you, Jam, on the roads, on the keys.
Oh, I played on that? Jeez,
Yeah.
Man, I've tried to play it. I try to copy that so many times. I'm like, what in God's name? Like, what did he? I'm like, leave it alone.
Jam on keys.
The texture master.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Yeah, man. No, that's a great record. Okay, so you tell us a little bit about what you guys are planning in the future, when we can look out for something new from you guys.
Yeah, I think we're definitely, it's one of those things too, because, the Mood Soundsational was such a incredible concoction of just music and hip hop and, just musicianship. And I think for us, it's, you almost don't want to taint what that was, because, obviously there's an expectation of what they want to continue hearing. And I just wanted to make sure that we were in that music space to kind of, continue carrying that torch of what that ultimately became. And just, you need a little bit of life to go by so that you can have new inspiration, new ideas, and new creativity. Yep. And, but I can assure you that, we are definitely doing a Mood Soundsational too. And we actually do have a couple of joints already in the can. So awesome. It's coming. And, I think too, what made that really dope is we really went hard on the artwork experience. We did vinyl. Yes. And I think that was something that just, people who love those assets, it was a huge part of what that experience was. And so we want to be able to continue to do the same thing, maybe do 45s this time. Just keep it really, really cool and dope.
Yeah. Well, definitely look forward to that. And, hopefully you got room for us on there, on your
man, that's automatic.
Terry's already got she's already got the wave files.
By the way, see there? By the way, here's the thing. By the way, we do have a couple of joints in the can that aren't on the Jam and Lewis album that we've done together.
Yeah, for Volume 2.
Yeah, exactly.
So we don't have vinyl yet, but we do actually have a CD.
I love it.
I love physical products still,
and I do too. I was talking earlier today with somebody about. I always talk about the ceremony of music to me, which was always, whether in your case digging through the crates or going to the record store and getting that vinyl and peeling it off and taking it out and looking at the label, your favorite label, whatever that was, if it was Motown or Atlantic or whatever that was, and putting it down and then putting the record on and picking up those liner notes and reading all the stuff. There's something about that because it involved all your senses, even the smell of the vinyl, right? Rather than just something just popping into your ears. So to me, it takes a little of the importance away from music. It's a little too convenient, It's like you love if you walked into a kitchen and somebody's cooking and you see them actually doing something from scratch, it automatically is going to taste better to you. Whether it actually does, who knows? But it's going to taste better just because you know that the care and that they got put into it.
Yeah, that physical connection.
Yeah. And I think that's what music making sometimes is missing. So that's why, we wanted to do this this stream that we're basically doing it every week. And it's basically just to talk music and to talk about the appreciation that we have for music, the love of music and stuff, and the people that we've had the chance to collaborate with over the years, particularly at this point in our lives when we have our debut album, if you can believe it.
That's what I'm talking about.
So, DJ Emma, if we could just hear a couple of things from the album that the Avila brothers are involved with. I would love to, we talked about Sounds of Blackness. We talked about Big Jim Wright. I would love to hear a little bit of Till I Found You, and then talk just a little bit about that. And we'll spend another 15 minutes here. I know we said an hour. We're going a little bit over time, but I see a lot of people are still hanging with us, so we appreciate that. But let's hear a little bit of Till I Found You.
The blackness. The blackness. When I was scraping the bottom down on my luck, you came along and picked me up and brought new purpose in my life. Yes, you did. When I was out in the cold, somebody helped me. You took me in and gave me shelter. In your kingdom of tranquility and peace, where your arms can be my security, and your word can teach me how I should live. My heart so much more compassionate, 'cause you're showing me how true love should be. Till I found you, keeping unselfish. Yeah, it's always true. From my heart, the highest flame of must be like this. Must be, gotta be. Show confidence. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Yamming.
Yeah, I love that song. And Bob, the guitar on the song, man, is so lazy in the right place, man. What the hell is up with that shit? I mean, that is so. I mean, the way that song just lays, that pocket of that song lays, man, it's just, it's just the beauty of what you guys do, man. What you guys create.
We call that chicken grease right there.
Yeah,
man.
Man. That's definitely the chicken grease. And I love every time I hear Big Jim's voice, man. I'm so blessed to have him. I was telling somebody earlier, Big Jim was amazing to me because you know how people always say they were influenced by you. I get that compliment all the time. People will go, man, I'm really influenced. And then when I hear him play, I'm going, I don't really hear the influence, but okay, but thanks, but Big Jim literally could play like me, but better, right? So a lot of times I would go, Jim, you just play it. You know what I want to do, right? Big Jim was absolutely amazing. As a matter of fact, while we're on the Big Jim subject, I want to play one other song from the album. And I was talking about guitar, and Bobby, you played the guitar on this track. Did you do the drums on this track? Do you remember if you did?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
you did the drums on this. Okay, yeah. So DJ Emma, can we go to Heather Headley? Maybe I've Changed, and you'll hear once again the genius of the Avila brothers on guitar and drums, and you'll hear the genius of Big Jim Wright on pretty much every other instrument that you hear on this song. If we can do that from Volume 1, Heather Headley, Maybe I've Changed. But we're not hearing it. Oh well, we'll reset it. We'll reset it. By the way, maybe it's a story that people don't know. I'll tell real quick. Oh, I think we're back. Let's see. Here we go.
used to get excited, 'cause whenever I came home, you'd greet me with a smile. And he used to get real busy, but never too busy to stop and talk a while. Used to be able to look into my eyes and read the feelings in my soul. They love me for sure, I felt secure, but not anymore. So all I do is reminisce about those things I miss. Been here all day, crying in vain, wondering what to do. What to Things feel so strange. Maybe I'll change. Oh, did you? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Specialness.
Yeah, man. That song, man, is just that thing is nuts, man. That song is nuts. I was telling somebody though the other day, Heather Headley, the reason we actually met Heather Headley, or the way she got on our radar, was we had done this duet that nobody's even heard probably, but we did a duet with Janet and Elton John together from the Aida Broadway, for the musical Broadway Aida, right? And and it was a challenge, and Big Jim was involved in it because Elton wanted to do a duet with Janet, but they didn't sing in the same key. They were in totally different keys. And I remember we had to do Elton's verse in a different key than we did Janet's verse, and then somehow find the common chorus key that they could sing it together. It was a bit of a train wreck, quite honestly, but it was a challenge, and it made for a great relationship with Elton John. But when we were working with Elton, he was the one that said, you got to meet this girl, Heather Headley, who's the lead in Aida. And that was the reason we even knew about her. And then, of course, when they called and said, hey, would you do something with Heather Headley? We did I Wish I Wasn't, which ended up a huge record. And we kind of think of this song, you know, many, many years later, we kind of think of Maybe I Changed as almost the follow-up to that song. So we're loving it. People love it. And it's kind of the sleeper on the record. It's like, you know, people talk about the Tony Braxton, they talk about the Mary J, they talk about the different songs on the record. But a lot of people, surprisingly, they talk about the Heather Headley record. And you guys know, you know, we're mixing the album also in the stereo version of the album is out, but we're also mixing it in immersive audio. And that's one of the songs where the immersive audio really stands out, where you can take the different instruments and kind of move them around everywhere. Yeah. So
that's going to be super dope.
It's a pretty cool experience. Okay, let me see. I want to play while we got the Avila brothers here. I just got to play one more thing. No, I want to play two snippets of two more things, if you guys can stick for just a minute. I got to play a little bit of Mary J. Blige, Spinning. Yeah. Because I remember we did that song. Big Jim was involved with that song also. But I remember it was one of those times where we were all literally in the studio together. I mean, a lot of this record was completed during COVID, so it was, you know, files sending back and forth. But that was one where literally, Izzy, if I remember, you were on the drum machine. Bobby, you were on the bass. The bass on this song is ridiculous. And I was on the keyboards, and like literally we just kind of threw it all together, but actually sat in the room together and did it, which was a lot of fun to actually be able to work like that. And DJ Emma, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. If you would play the song not from the beginning, but play it from, I want to hear the bridge from about the bridge out. So maybe about halfway through it, maybe about 2 and some minutes. Yeah, because I want to hear, there's one bass lick that Bobby does that's my favorite bass lick on the whole album. And I just want to hear that go by. So this is Spinning, Mary J. Blige, Jam and Lewis Volume 1, along with the Avila Brothers, Mary J. Blige. Check a little of this out.
Something called set you free. Can't get it right 'cause life can be so hard. Don't lose your life, remember. Don't out of control. couldn't catch myself, no, no. I was spinning all around, all around. So
Yeah.
out of control, out of control. Holding on when nothing's there. I was so scared. I was spinning, out of control, afraid of letting go. But I found myself because I let go.
Man.
That bass, man. Come on, Bobby Avila. Lord Jesus. Man, the bass on that song, brother. I'm sorry, man. That gets me every time. Woo. And
that's
go ahead.
I will say, man, that's one of the funniest, the funnest moments of, us being able to kind of just man our stations in the room and just everybody play and as musicians, man, just the chemistry of what that brings, man. And you get those things that eventually poke out, whether it's a bass line riff or a guitar riff, and to be able to do that in a studio setting while we're writing a record is just, I think, has always been my favorite moments of creating with you guys.
Yeah, man, it's fun. I'll tell you, we'll get into it. I know we'll do this again at some point in time, but we should revisit. I'll tell you a record we should revisit where that really happened was the Chaka Khan album. Funk
man.
This.
Woo.
Because Funk This, I remember, I'll tell a quick story. So I was sitting with Chaka at, I think it was a Barack Obama event. It was before he was the president. I think he was just maybe getting ready to run for president at that point. And we were at a dinner. We were seated next to each other. And we got into a conversation. So Chaka said, if you made an album with me, what kind of album would you make? And my answer was, well, I would make an album like a Rufus album. And he said, huh? And I said, yeah. I said, like the Rufus stuff, I mean, your solo stuff is wonderful, but something about the Rufus albums because of the musicianship and all this stuff. And you were like, I think I said, you were like the chick in the band, like your voice, your voice was just another instrument of all these instruments coming together.
Oh man, that's the truth.
Yeah. And I don't think she really liked that. I don't think that she that. I think I was the wrong answer. I think the answer was supposed to be, oh, I love your solo stuff, right? So I didn't get that answer. So fast forward about a year later, and she was getting an award from the Grammys. People that don't know the Grammy structure, basically there's 12 chapters that are around the country. So with Chaka being from Chicago, the Chicago chapter of the Recording Academy wanted to give her an award. And ironically, that same year, Kanye West was getting an award. And I want to say, I can't remember, there's one other person, and I'm just slipping my mind to who it was. But anyway, they said, hey, would you like to give the award to Chaka? And I said, yeah, but I'm not sure whether she wants me to give her the award or not, So anyway, so we get to the dinner. We're sitting next to each other again. And I'm just kind of thinking, wow, I don't want to bring that up again. So we're talking about a bunch of other stuff. And she says, hey, Jam, by the way, she said, remember I asked you before what kind of album you do if you did an album with me? And I said, yeah. And she said, yeah, you were right. That's exactly the kind of album I should do. And you guys should be Rufus. And we were like, okay, cool. And so that's basically what we did on that album.
Yeah.
It was literally, you talk about everybody going to their stations and playing. We just picked up instruments and started playing, and then she would just sing. And whatever came out, melodies or whatever, that would be what the song was. And once again, Big Jim Wright was a big part of that record too, as was Natural. Ariana Grande's musical director was a big part of that on the guitar. But we really had the all-star band of bands. I mean, we probably had about the closest thing to Rufus that we could possibly get. And what an honor to be Chaka Khan's band. I mean, that was amazing on that record. And
but how about Jim? How about when Tony Maiden came in though?
Oh my God!
Remember we
Tony.
had Tony.
Yeah.
And
So
Tony
we got
stomped a hole in the floor. And Tony stomped a hole in Terry's floor.
That's right. In the brand new floor.
we were at our brand new flight time in Santa Monica, and this brand new floors, everything's all pristine, all beautiful. And Tony walks in with these hard ass cowboy boots or whatever the heck they were,
exactly.
right? And he's in there playing. I think he was playing "You Got the Love" or something.
Yeah, he played "You Got the Love."
Yeah. Right, he's playing it, and he's stomping the floor. Come.
Oh,
and we're like looking at that wood. And the wood, the stuff's coming off the wood, the what's it called, the stain and everything's coming off the wood. And it's kind of beginning to crack a little bit, and it's like, oh man, Terry ain't gonna like this, you know. But it became sort of almost like the shrine, like that in Terry's room. There was this room with this dent in the floor. And it was like, yeah, Tony Maiden did that. Tony Maiden did that. So it was okay.
Terry was so disgusted. He was like, this thing better do something. He messed up my floor.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. Oh, okay. So wait. DJ Emma, that just reminds me of one other song. If you can find it, I would love to hear. And that's the, speaking of Chaka and speaking of Mary, what was the duet we did with them?
Disrespectful.
DJ Emma, if you can find Disrespectful, let's just hear a little bit of that song. I remember.
By the way, I think that won Best Vocal Duet Performance.
It did. That won a Grammy.
Yeah,
that absolutely won a Grammy. And I remember we did this song with Mary J in mind as a Mary J song, and I think it might have been Terry's idea to put Chaka on it and do it as a duet. And they turned out, obviously amazing. And they each pushed each other, which was pretty cool. But the drums on this, man, are ridiculous. Izzy, let's check a little bit of this out. Grammy winning Disrespectful, Chaka Khan and Mary J. Blige.
Come on, baby.
They going at it, man. That's pure flames, man. That's pure flames. Hey, by the way, John Nettlesby's on here. What's up, John Nettlesby? He said, actually, I think it was John McClane's idea. I didn't know John was involved in that, but maybe so. Who knows? That actually might be right. And somebody else said, sounds slightly like One Thing by A. Marie. Yeah, it definitely has that Rich Harrison. Yeah, man, absolutely. But those girls, man, I'm sorry, they went at it on that record, man. They did one of my favorite duets of all time. Man,
but that bridge, that bridge.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. That was a heck of a bridge on that record, man.
That's when I hated you all over again. I was like, oh god.
Izzy, what was up with them drums, man? What was up with the drums on that record, man?
That was just some fine crate digging, man, is what I call it.
That was just absolutely amazing, man. That
it was like
that. Just crazy. So John Nettlesby
drum,
said we
yeah.
recorded that in the original track in Marvin's room. Is that
That's
right?
right.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, good,
Yep.
good. Okay, he's reminding me of that. And when I heard it, I didn't hear it in Marvin's room. I heard it, I think you just played it for me wherever we were at, maybe at Flight Time, or I don't know where the heck we were at. And I just heard the track and I just was like, oh my God.
We were at the Village Jam when you did the keys and stuff for the chorus. We were at the Village in the White Room. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Was that done? Because I know at Marvin's room we did
you guys did the vocals at Marvin's room.
Yeah, we did that's right, it was. That's what it was. Yeah. I do remember that. But we also did other Mary stuff at Marvin's room too, right? We did
I think we did Baggage. You guys did the vocal for Baggage.
Yes.
Yep. Was it Can't Get Enough?
Yeah, and then Until I Found You.
Yeah, Until I Found You.
Yeah,
Until I Found You.
Yep. Also. Yep.
Yeah. I remember I was like, what? How did Jam take a Trinity and make it sound like something else and not a Trinity on that bridge? That was so wild. Like, God. Square one again. Here we go.
Hey man, you know who I saw floating around? Go ahead, Jam.
No, go ahead. No,
what were you gonna
say?
say?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say
I don't even remember.
Someone I saw someone floating around in our comments. Our brother Prof T, and I just want to make it. Yeah, I just want to make a point to shout him out. I mean, he was a huge part of just the musical energy, that was coming around, out of us, out of Flight Time, and just want to, just send my brother some love, man. Thank you for your musical contribution to us as well, Prof. Man, love you, brother.
Yeah, man. Everything Prof T, man, is one of the smartest. I mean, you talk about somebody that lives and breathes music. That's that brother. I mean,
his word, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys, and for people that don't know in the chat here, so Prof T is part of the group Low Key. Yeah. And if you guys remember, I got a thing for you, baby. Yeah, that was a Low Key, their number one record for them. They were signed to Perspective Records back in the 90s. But Prof was involved in a lot of writing, a lot of stuff that we did. Matter of fact, one of my favorite Janet songs, he was involved in writing, which was what's it called? I feel like bumping to some old school.
R&B junkie.
R&B junkie. Yeah. That was Prof T's concoction there, man. So definitely shout out to Prof T and all the brothers.
I mean,
man,
he killed Moist. He was
that's right. Yeah. Prof is amazing, man. So I'm glad he's in here. And it's funny because Lance's partner, we did a Clubhouse when the album released. So 3 weeks ago, I guess, or it seems like our album's been out for 2 months, but I guess we've only been out a month. But I remember doing a Clubhouse, and Prof came into that, which was great. We got a chance to chop it up a little bit, and I got a chance to tell him that, or tell everybody that, "Optimistic," which is our favorite song that we've ever done, probably, that started off as a drum track that Lance had done, And I said, "Oh yeah," and so he was funny because he was like, "Man, when I heard it, when it was finished," he said, "I didn't even realize I did it. It was like you took it to this whole other place that I wasn't even thinking. I just was like, let's make a loop of something." Yeah. But I was like, you MPC bandits, You guys, some people just knew how to work that drum machine and really, really make it speak. But listen, man, we could go on all night talking, and I know people have other things to do. We're going to let people go. And I don't know whether we got to our number that we said we were going to sneak a little bit of the video of the visual for Usher, and I don't know whether we're going to do that or not. That's up to Emma. DJ Emma is the arbiter of that. She said we need to get 1,000 people in the chat. I have no idea whether we got them or not. But I always, me, I'm not about the quantity of people. I'm about the quality of people.
Quality,
and I know the quality of people when I'm seeing these names in the chat and the people that we just mentioned. I know the quality of the people in the room definitely is deserving to see a little something. I will say if we're going to play this, I'm not sure, but I will say that we are partnered with put it in the chat for me. I can't remember what their R&B that's going to premiere the video tomorrow for us. It's just slipping my mind. Okay. Oh, wait. It looks like the video is going to
Here we
play.
go. We got it.
Okay. Well, shoot. Let me shut up and let's play this video, and then when we come back, I'll just I'll give you guys closing thoughts, whatever you guys want to talk about. Okay. So this is Usher. Do it yourself. Let's see a little of this.
Are you ready for me? Voyeuristic. I love watching you. Can I see? You know what I do. I want to see you do it. Go ahead. Ain't no question about running this here, but tonight I got a bright idea. Usually I'm the one working around here. Girl, it's on you tonight. We can do the typical, but instead I prefer working you in your head. Oh, baby.
Oh man!
Oh man, I got popcorn and soda and everything.
Oh no, you're getting relaxed into it. Okay,
Right? Yeah, I didn't want to burn the popcorn.
Rated R&B, rated R&B. That's where that is
Yeah.
going to show tomorrow. I'm not sure the time, but it'll be like early, and that'll be the first place you'll be able to see it. But then it'll be up everywhere, and you'll be able to check it out. And I don't know whether I said this or not, but the idea is we're really going to do lyric videos for all of the songs on the album, because we think a lot of the lyrics, Terry Lewis is the lyric master. As I always say, it takes me a paragraph to say what he can say in a sentence, which was what makes him such a great writer. But I think lyrically the album's really strong and really cool. So, and we're excited about that. So
music lovers, go get it.
yeah. And I'll be one other thing I'll say to people too is I tell people if they first time they listen to the album, we would love if they'd listen to the album from start to finish. Just put it on at the beginning, let it go through all the songs. There's a kind of a storyline. It starts off with Sounds of Blackness Till I Found You, which, you know, if it's up to me, any album that we ever do will always start with Sounds of Blackness, because they are really the foundation of everything we do in our minds. But it actually ends at the beginning with Morris Day and Jerome, along with the Roots. So we thought it was kind of cool to kind of take you on a little bit of a musical journey of our 35 years of making the record. And, you know, the Avila brothers, as we've talked about today, are such an important part of our journey to this point and continue to be, you know, into the future with their album, with our Volume 2 album that's in the works, and so on and so forth. So I'll just leave it up to you guys, man. Is there anything you guys want to add? And we will absolutely do this again, because we just kind of skipped around, but we have so many other songs we can talk about and so many other artists. And by the way, I know we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of 8701 over the weekend, but we're also celebrating, it's also, I believe, the 20th anniversary of coming up of No More Drama, of Mary's No More Drama album. So which you guys, of course, are part of also. So, you know, we're definitely get into some more things. But what do you want to say to our audience here that's still here?
Man, I would say, you know, thank you so much for allowing us to be a part of this special time with you guys and being a part of Volume 1. And, you know, I at the end of the day, I always hope with music that we just continue to inspire people through our music, and just put smiles on people's faces during this time. And, you know, what other great element to be able to reach for, you know, coming out of the pandemic, you know, than, you know, just to be able to have great music that we can lean on for comfort, man. And so definitely thank you, Jam, for having us a part of Volume 1, you and Terry. And, you know, man, at the end of the day, Jam, for me, I am so thankful for you and Terry for all the years, the musical investment you made into us, the belief, the passion, and just the information that you have continued to share with us through all those years. And I'll tell you why that's extremely important for me, is because, you know, when I have moments like I had probably about a week ago walking off stage, and one of the workers there at the Coliseum, Hispanic, came up to me and he said, you know, me seeing you and your brother play every night for Usher allows me to go home and tell my kids that they don't have to be in a box. Their dreams don't have to be in a box, that they can think outside the box. And, you know, when I look at moments like that, it's because we've had incredible people in our lives like you and Terry, who believed in us at an early age and were willing to share the information and nurture us. And, you know, that means a lot for us, especially with kids that look like us, that they can have hopes and dreams that, you know, aren't confined by limitations and what people think you should be doing. And, you know, we're only as great as our heroes, and the heroes are shoulders we stand on. And so, you know, man, just thank you so much, because it's not only has it done a lot for me and Bobby, but it's also done a lot for the kids that look like me and him, and us being together, you know, and could never thank you guys enough, man. Like I always say, man, you guys are our black dads. Straight up. You guys are our black daddies, man. So, man, I love you, and I just appreciate the love and support that you have always continued to pour into me and my brother, man. I can never thank you enough.
Thank you, Is. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Much
absolutely.
appreciated.
All of that. You know, the crazy thing is, like, I'm playing and, you know, with Usher, and I'm looking down and I'm, you know, I have the WWJD. What would Jam do?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm seeing you in the audience, and it's like, you know, just growing up to you and studying you, like, you know, Iz was talking about just how his concept behind the MPC and how he constructs music and records. And for me, you and Prince were just these guys that had the textures that you guys used. You know, you have to, it starts with the song, obviously, but it's the journey through the song and how you would take someone through the journey. And being in Vegas now, guys, I have to just FYI, when you go to Vegas, Jimmy and Terry basically own the sound waves in Vegas, because I don't care if I'm in ballet, if I'm rolling craps, I'd be rolling craps with Terry on the crap table. You know, you'd hear, you know, what have you done for me lately, or what I think of you. And every time I'm somewhere where there's music in Vegas, I'm walking to the venue and I have to laugh, because I'm like, of course, they're Vegas. So, you know, I'm constantly reminded and inspired by, you know, your work and just our relationship. And I think, you know, playing on a stage with sold out, and I'm with Usher, and just to, you know, get a call also from Teddy Riley, like, man, you know, I want to go there, you know, because he's seen the pictures, you know, of us. And it's been a great journey. And guys, the power of music is so powerful. You know, I always say music is the only language that brings strangers together and ultimately become family. We've been family for 30 plus years, not just the musical family, but, you know, the transition when you do have success. What do you do? How do you live a normal life? Or what does that even mean? You know, I remember all the talks, and, you know, it's priceless. And I go back to music, and music, like you say, Jam, music is the only language that bypasses the brain and goes straight to the heart. And I wake up every morning with the melody in my head. I wake up every morning wanting to be better. You know, I had to put the MPC down and the SP1200 down, because this guy took it over and just created just monster in that thing. So it allowed me to learn bass. No, Terry, how do you do this? Guitar, top bar, like all of the different things. And that just comes from the passion of loving music and how powerful music is. It changes lives. And I think for all of the fans out there, we're a part of this song called Do It Yourself. But I'm going to ask you to do yourself a favor and cop that volume 1 and listen to it from top to bottom. We're from Cali, so we would kind of gauge an album based on leaving Cali, going to Vegas, and never having to press pause, stop,
fast forward.
Yeah. This record, what I love about it so much, to me, like, you know, being a fan and knowing you guys, what's great about the record is you can play it from top to bottom, and it takes you to a place. It makes you think. It makes you feel something. It's just not disposable. You know, it has emotion. And then, you know, the voices are familiar. And to me, I think that's just the power of you guys being timeless. Yeah. And I think that's what we've inherited through you guys, is knowing how not to, you know, be conformed to a time. but just doing music, not trying to worry about where you're sitting on the charts. Just let it breathe. Let it be what it is. And, you know, the people are going to tell you whether they like it or not.
Yeah,
but we love you, man. We love you.
Thank you, man. No, I appreciate it. And by the way, success is a moving target. We always talk about that window, right? There's that window of success.
That window.
That window's constantly moving. So you better catch it, you know, while it comes in. But yeah, listen, you know, this time that we're in now with the pandemic and all of those types of things, and I talk about it all the time, we're on Zoom screens. And, you know, it's that time travel and that universal language of music that when the beat comes on, everybody's doing this at the same time.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter the language you speak. It doesn't matter anything. You feel it in your soul. And that's the gift of music, man. I want to thank you guys for coming on. This is only our second show. You're the first guests.
So
yeah, this is a great.
Everybody else is second.
That's right. That's right. But you guys,
as Terry would say, first is always sexier than number 2.
Yeah, and by the way, I saw some in the comments. Some of the comments were asking about Terry. Terry's actually in Minneapolis visiting family, but he's doing good, and he will be, you know, he'll be back next week and be joining us next week. But I know he's with us in spirit, as he always is. And anyway, what I want to thank you guys for doing being our first guests on here. You guys will definitely be invited back. I remind everybody this weekend, I don't even know whether there's tickets still available, but Friday and Saturday of this weekend, Usher at the Coliseum, Caesars Coliseum. It's an amazing show. You have to see it. And it's not only a show, but it's also the immersive experience that Usher has, which is amazing. It's kind of a time travel through his career type of thing. So yeah, it's really worth it to go. Do it safely though. Please, everybody, be safe. But enjoy it. And we'll be back next week. Most likely we will be at the same time. If you want to see the rest of the Usher video, the lyric video for Do It Yourself, Rated R&B. They're on Instagram. They will have the video probably first thing in the morning, or maybe even after midnight. So maybe, I'm not sure of the exact timing of it. And please follow the Avila brothers. Avila is Bobby. It's A-H-V-I-H-A. Is that right? It's spelled like that?
A-V. Man, I'm like, look at my A-H-V. I know, I'm looking at them like A-V. It's A-H-V-L-A-H.
Yes.
A-H-V-L-A-H.
Yeah. And is I-Z, right?
Yep.
Avila, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Nice and easy. You know, my brother had to be different.
Yeah, you make it all complicated and stuff. Exactly.
I do too much because I know too much.
Anyway,
that's
follow
another
these.
thing too. On our next show jam, we'll have to share all the creative sayings that we've been able to muster up over the years.
Yeah, we definitely got a few of them. No question about it. Anyway,
real quick too, Jam.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I've seen so many incredible comments like these. Like we have like
Twana Thomas, Carl Free,
music lovers.
Yep. Yes, music lovers. Yeah. Shout out to all you guys who tuned in tonight. And man, do yourself a favor and go cop that Volume 1.
By the way,
come see the show while you're at it.
Yeah, come see the show too. By the way, I can tell once again. I don't know how many people we have because I don't really care. But it's the quality of the people we have, and I can tell by the comments and the questions that are coming in. It's very detailed. These people are music fans, and they're up on their knowledge, but also the things that they don't know. I'm noticing other people are somebody ask a question and we don't answer it, that somebody else in the chat will answer the question. So that's the kind of people we want in this room. So we really appreciate that. So anyway, yes, Vegas, Usher, Friday and Saturday. Got to go see the show. It's an amazing show. Jam and Lewis Volume 1, which is available everywhere that you get your music, even on CD. We're even at Target, but you can get the CD from Amazon. You can get it from anywhere you like. Support all of the artists on the album also. I mean, I appreciate you. Flight Time Jam is my Instagram. Flight Time Lewis is Terry's. Official Jam and Lewis is our kind of our team page, if you will. on Instagram, but we're on Twitter. We're on everywhere that you're supposed to be. I guess they're even trying to get us hooked up with TikTok. I don't know about that. That's for the I ain't trying to mess with that, but you never know. You never know. They'll get us hooked up for all of those things. But the most important thing, go listen to the music and go support all the great artists that are in our lives that we've had a chance to work with, that we continue to work with, because that's really the important thing. If you want to keep music together, I think you have to support them. So we appreciate you, man. All right. All right. So we're going to bid you farewell. Please be safe. For those of you that are asking about merch, it is coming soon. Stay tuned. Follow our channels. And everybody have a great rest of the night and a great weekend. Thanks, you guys.
Love you, Jam.
Love you too, man.